Good morning, Malacañang Press Corps. Welcome sa regular press briefing ni Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Good morning, sir.
Morning. As we proceed with the run-up to PRRD's State of the Nation address, we continue to give snapshots of the Duterte administration's one-year accomplishments, and we are lucky today to have Department of Labor and Employment Secretary Silvestre Bello III. Sec Bello will highlight the Labor Department's first-year accomplishments and how these projects and programs deliver public service to local and overseas employment and help in bringing about a comfortable life for all Filipinos. Ladies and gentlemen of the Malacañang Press Corps, let us welcome warmly Labor Secretary Bebot Bello. Sir.
Thank you, Sec Ernie. My dear friends in media, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. After 1 year in the Department of Labor, ang hirap kasi magbuhat ng sariling bangko eh. So, first, let me tell you about what we failed to do. What we failed to do. Number one is, we wanted to bring home all the stranded 19,000 stranded workers in Saudi, but we only succeeded in bringing home about 16,000. Why? Because many of them opted to stay because they had money claims. So we allowed them to stay, but we spent almost more than half a billion in bringing them back, repatriating them. That is with respect to our OFW. Then what did we fail to do with respect to the security of tenure of workers? We failed to regularize the contractuals as much as we wanted to. We have a workforce of about 40 million employees. Ngayon, while we wanted to regularize all our employees under laws on contractualization, medyo nahirapan kami dahil unang-una, we are supervising almost 900,000 business establishments throughout the country. And I am very sorry to tell you that we only have a little over 500 labor law compliance officers, inspectors for short. How can you expect 500 plus labor law inspectors to supervise and inspect almost 1 million business establishments in the country, to see to it that they comply with all labor laws, standards, and benefits for our employees? But I don't want to make that an excuse, because in order to meet that problem, what we did is to request the President to give us additional inspectors. Luckily, he agreed to give us 200 additional inspectors. But definitely again, kulang pa rin yan. We need to be able to effectively inspect all these business establishments. We need at least additional 2,500 inspectors. So what did we do? We requested all the labor unions and all the employers' organizations to nominate to us any of their people whom we can train and be utilized as our inspectors. After a few weeks, we were able to receive 5 representatives from the employers group, and then 50 from the laborers group. We trained these people, and after 10 days, they graduated as labor law compliance inspectors. They will then be deputized by the Secretary of Labor. I-deputize ko sila and then we utilize them now as inspectors. Kulang pa rin, but we will continue to accept nominees from both labor and management so that we can have enough inspectors to see to it that all our labor establishments will comply with labor laws standards. Labor law standards. Yun ang aming hindi nagawa. Now, going back to the OFWs, which is the first love of our President, although we failed to do so much, let me inform you of the major accomplishment that our department did for the past 12 months. First, we were able to establish 17 one-stop shop all over the country so that our OFWs, in trying to meet the requirements for their deployment, they don't have to travel from one place to the other, from POEA to OWA, to the Department of Justice, to the NBI, to the PhilHealth, to the Pag-ibig, to the SSS. What we did was to have a one-stop shop where all these agencies are located and where they can service our OFWs. The result is we have 17 one-stop shop all over the country, and we have so far serviced 1,000,005 OFWs. Malaking bagay po yan dahil hindi na sila kailangan magbibiyahe pa. Nakabawas sa gasto, nakabawas sa energy, at nakabawas sa dangers of traveling. Another benefit that we gave to our OFWs is the establishment of a OFW bank. This is a bank that will solely service all our overseas Filipino workers. This bank will be formally inaugurated. Originally, it was supposed to be September, but Secretary Dominguez announced it yesterday that it will be launched on October this year. So we will have a bank that will service our OFWs. Another milestone in the benefits of OFW is yung 7 to 2 hour policy. Under this policy, when a document filed by an OFW is filed with any of the agencies under the Department of Labor, that document, whether it is an application or a letter, should be acted upon within 72 hours. Otherwise, the person or the employee accepting that document and does not act on it within 72 hours can be administratively liable. Okay. Another, you learned, I think about 2 months ago, that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia declared an amnesty on all undocumented OFWs in the Middle East. 13,000 applied for amnesty. And of these 13,000, we were able to repatriate 6,000 of our countrymen working in the Middle East. Meron pang naiiwan na 2,400. Kasi although 13,000 sila, some of them opted to stay. Nakakuha na sila ng exit visa pero they decided to stay dahil nakahanap sila ng panibagong trabaho. Okay? Because of that, we only have now 2,400 OFWs who are still there and have to be repatriated. And by July 12, we are sending 5 PAL or Cebu Pacific airplane to bring them home together, all the 2,400 of them. Some will be directly flight to Mindanao, probably in Davao. Another flight will probably be directly flown to Cebu for the Visayan OFWs, and most of them will come home directly to Manila. So we will be able to bring home yung 2,400 plus OFWs. Another major breakthrough ito, hindi nyo pa siguro nalalaman, pero if you have any friend who is an OFW, you will appreciate this. Dahil alam mo, if you want to be deployed, or before you can be deployed for an overseas job, you have to obtain an OEC from the POEA. OEC is an Overseas Employment Certificate. So bago ka ma-deploy, kailangan pumunta ka sa POEA, and through the process, you obtain an OEC. With that OEC, you can be validly deployed for a work, overseas work. With the introduction, my dear friends, of the IDOL, and that is the ID of the Department of Labor and Employment, we will be doing away with the OEC. Because under this program, all bona fide OFWs will be given IDOL, that is the ID of the Department of Labor and Employment, at no cost to the OFW. And this will serve as your OEC. Yun ang OEC ng mga OFW. So they don't have to go to the POEA every time they go, and they come back, and they go back again. They always have to get the OEC. Hindi na kailangan, all they have to do is show their ID, the IDOL. And that will serve as their license to go abroad, come back here, and then go back anytime they want to go back. Yan po yung IDOL. The best gift of our President to our OFWs. Kasi alam mo, madalas nagre-reklamo yung mga OFW natin. Sir, ang hirap yung nandun kami sa ibang bansa, nagpipila kami, kung minsan masungit yung mga labor atasenyo, kung minsan tamad sila, pinapabalik kami, ilang oras kami naghihintay, pagkatapos magbayad pa kami, kung minsan sabihin, hindi kami qualified. That will be a thing of the past with the entry of IDOL. Permanente lang. Maliban sa yung data that will be included in the IDOL is yung kanilang SSS membership. Gagamitin, pwede nilang gamitin sa SSS niya. Gagamitin din nila sa pag-ibig. At magagamit din nila sa PhilHealth. And maybe, given another 6 months, we are trying to adopt a system that this IDOL can serve as their passport. Kakausapin namin mabuti ang Department of Foreign Affairs. And of course, the Department of Justice through its agency, which is the Bureau of Immigration. Para yung IDOL na yan, pwede na rin gamitin na passport. We see the advantage. OFW ka. Pwede ka na makabiyahe anywhere. You have your passport. And hindi mo na kailangan ng OEC. Hindi mo na kailangan harapin yung mga masusungit na empleyado ng POEA. That to me is a major gift of the President to our OFWs, who we always call as the bagong bayani. Pero yung pagsasabi natin minsan ng bagong bayani, lip service lang yan eh. Lip service lang madalasan. Now, na-substantiate na yung meaning ng bagong bayani sa ating mga OFW. The President has seen to it that their life is more comfortable, more secured, and their stay abroad are properly attended to. And it has been my policy, and I made it very clear to our labor attaché. I told them, you have the best position in the department. Yan ang pinaka number one position. Even my undersecretaries are applying to become labor attaché because of the benefits. Especially if you are a labor attaché of Milan, or Rome, or Madrid, or Washington, or Geneva, Australia, wag lang Saudi. But I told them, you enjoy the position, but please take care of our OFW. If any complaint reaches me coming from OFW that you are not attending to them, without any hesitation, I will recall you, which I did. When I found out that we had 19,000 Filipino overseas workers who has been stranded in the Middle East for more than 2 years. Ewan ko anong ginawa ng dating administrasyon. I found out that we had 19,000 countrymen stranded in the Middle East. What did I do? I recalled the 2 labor attaché in Riyadh, Saudi, and also in Jeddah. And I did that again in Kuwait when one of our countrymen was executed, Miss Pawa. Dahil the news of the execution did not reach me by a communication from our labor attaché. Nakatanggap lang ako ng text message galing kay Toots Ople ng OFW party list nila. Because of that, I flew immediately to Kuwait, hopefully to be able to see the burial of Miss Pawa. Unfortunately, 24 hours lang ang mga Muslim. So, ang hindi nadatlang ko ay yung kanya lang libingan. But when I went home, I brought with me yung labor attaché. Because hindi siya karapat-dapat doon. I immediately caused his recall. So, that is the state of our OFW. Sa employment naman, again, ang hirap pa, Ernie magsabi, we reduced the unemployment rate by, well, a very modest percentage of 1.7%. We also reduced the underemployment rate, again, by modest rate, which is only less than 1%, pero nabawasan. Through our efforts, napababa namin yung labor force natin. Dati medyo matatanda ang labor force natin. Ngayon, because of space and job start, napabata natin ang ating labor force. Meron na tayong mga labor force na bagong graduates, andali na lang makahanap ng trabaho. How many yung job fair did we conduct for the year? 1,800 plus job fairs throughout the country. And as a result of these job fairs, we have what we call HATS, hard on the spot. How many? 139,000 hard on the spot employees as a result of our job fairs. And we will continue to do this in cooperation with DTI and with the employers ECOP, Confederation of the Philippines. They've been very cooperative on this program. Now, on the security of tenure, ito yung contractualization. Iniwasan ko yan dahil madugo yan eh. On the issue of ENDO and contractualization, yung ENDO is a thing of the past. Definitely, ENDO is going to or has already ended. Why? Because management and employers realize that this is unlawful and that it is unlawful for them to engage in ENDO. So, in fairness to the management group, to the employers, they all committed to stop the practice of endo, the practice of 555. Hindi yun yung ano yung sa Dinas, that is every 5 months, i-hire ka for 5 months and then terminate you, and then after 1 month, rehire you for another 5 months. Yun, 555. Wala na yan, bawal yan. Alam naman nila yan, bawal. Ang issue na lang ngayon ay yung contractualization. If you recall, about 3 months ago, I issued Department Order number 174, series of 2017. The framework of this Department Order is that contractualization is prohibited. That is the framework. Bawal ang contractualization. Except, merong exception, siyempre, in anything in life, there is always an exception. Like, for example, there is an exception in the case of security guards. Under, I think, DO 150, the 6.16, you can outsource your security guards. You do not have to hire your own security guard. You can get it from the security agencies. And that is also true with the janitors. Under an existing administrative department order in Dole, you can also outsource your janitors. You don't have to hire your own janitors. Okay? Another exception is yung tinatawag na project-based workers or employees. I will demonstrate you a very, very clear example. Let's say you are a shipbuilder. And as a shipbuilder, you have your regular employees. You have your clerks, you have your cashier, you have your what's this? Yung mga utility man, your regular employees to run your business. Because your business is to build ships. Pag may nag-order sa'yo ng isang barko, o let's say yung isang cruise ship, you will need at least 10,000 workers to put up that ship, di ba? You have to need more than 10,000 workers to build that ship. So you build that ship, and after building it, you deliver it to the person who ordered the ship. Now, natapos na yung project, na-deliver mo na yung goods, what will you do with the workers? Retain them as regular employees. If you do that in less than a year, you will go bankrupt. That is why under the law, you are allowed to outsource this. Get it from a service provider. That they are called the project-based workers. Then we also have yung seasonal. If you go to SM, favorite example ko yung SM, not because it is a violator, pero many of you go to SM almost every weekend, di ba? Magsa-shopping kayo. Doon, they have, let's say, mga ilang kaya nandyan sa SM MOA. Mga maliit na ang 300. Okay? These are the regular sales girls. Pagdating ng opening ng classes, di ba? Anong nag-iba na ngayon, Sec, di ba? Dati, May, di ba? For the opening ng June. Pero iba na ngayon, schedule, May, August. Yung daughter ko, nabigla ako, August na babalik sa klase. Pero during enrollment, peak season yan, dadagdag sila ng additional sales girls. Meron bang sales boy? Wala, no? Wala. Sales girl lang. Yan. These are the seasonal workers. They hire them only for that season, and after that season, they are terminated. Because otherwise, wala naman silang use. They are there only for the season. And that is also true during Christmas. These are examples where you can outsource the employee, the worker. But going back to SM, I ask you, I know most of you go to MOA or an SM or a Robinson. I ask you, if you are keen observers, may nakita ba kayong sales girl na nakaupo? Wala. Diba? Palagi nakatindig yung mga sales girl natin. 4 na oras ang nakatindig. More than, minsan more. Then during lunch break, they are only given, I think, 20 to 30 minutes. Then back to standing again. Bawal yun. Violation of labor standards. Pero nobody's complaining. Nobody's complaining. Pero bawal yun. That is hazardous to the health of the sales girl. I wonder why nobody is advocating for this, for the welfare of these sales girls. Pero bawal na bawal yun. Marami na sa kanya. Ang babata pa nila, pero pag-aya ko, marami na silang barikus. Di ba sa amin ni Sec Ernie dahil medyo 50 above kami eh. Pero yung mga sales girl natin, mga 19, 20, gano'n. Standing for 5 hours, an interval of 30 minutes, and another 4 hours. That is hazardous to their health. Yun ang bawal din. So yun ang aming That is our Department Order 174. We were accused of violating the commitment of President Rodrigo Duterte because according to them, the President said, no to endo, no to contractualization. Yes, that is the promise of the President. And yes, the President is going to keep his promise. When he said no to endo, unclassified yung endo. But when he said contractualization, he meant illegitimate, unlawful form of contractualization. Like for example, yung sales girls, you cannot outsource the sales girls because they are beneficial and necessary for the conduct of the business. Hindi ka pwedeng maging retailer kung wala kang mga sales girl, di ba? Pwede ka bang pumunta sa MOA tapos tayo maghanap ng sarili natin? Kailangan ng sales girls. Beneficial and necessary in the business. Kaya hindi dapat ina-outsource. By law, they have to be regular. That is why, if you recall, I directed the PLDT to comply with the law, and I told them if they will not regularize their more than 11,000 employees, I told them that the Department of Labor will direct that all their employees will henceforth be classified as regular. That is what is meant by Department Order 174. And that is what the President said, no more unlawful, illegitimate contractualization. Because hindi mo maiwasan na sometimes you have to resort to a contractual arrangement. Talking about contractual arrangement, even in agriculture, pag nagtanim ka, kailangan mo yung planter, di ba? Pero pag ani, hindi mo ma-hire yung planter na mag-ani because he does not know anything about harvesting. All he knows is planting. So you have to hire for the season a harvester, yung anong tawag doon? Tawag nyo, taga-ani. So that's what the President said. No to endo, no to illegal, illegitimate form of contractualization. So with that, my dear friends, we have 12 months doing all this to ensure the security of tenure of our workers, at the same time, provide our management and employers the flexibility of running their business. We also told you what we did to our OFWs, the real bagong bayani in the Philippine society. Salamat po.
Okay, first question will come from Darrell, ANC, ABS-CBN Online. Microphone, please.
Hi, sir. Two questions lang po from
Okay.
my part. Sir, President Duterte promised inclusive growth through job generation dun po sa kanyang first SONA. Sir, with the decrease in unemployment, would you say that the government is on its way to achieving inclusive growth? If not, what measures are we doing, sir?
Yeah, not on its way. In fact, we have already achieved that. I mean, partially, no? Oh, we have increased uh, labor opportunities. Because, alam mo, ang hindi natin nalalaman, while the President is providing protection to our OFWs, ang final goal ng ating Presidente is to get them back, repatriate all of them. Because the President is aware of the social implication of Filipinos going abroad to look for jobs. So, ang final goal ng ating Presidente is to get them all back by providing good jobs with good pay. So, I don't know if you, di ba, during our China, we mentioned yung Dutertenomics, where the President will go into major infrastructure program. And our financial advisors said that they will spend about 6 trillion, which will create 2 million jobs a year. That means that by the end of the term of the president, which is 5 years from now, we will have almost 12 million jobs available.
And sir, do you qualify that as inclusive already?
Yes.
In your definition, sir.
Definitely.
Sir,
Alam mo, ang epekto niyan, dahil alam mo, ngayon, ang mga workers, pag naghanap ng trabaho, hindi namimili, di ba? Kasi ang hirap maghanap ng trabaho. So hard, so difficult to look for a job. So, kahit mababang sweldo, hindi na sila Hindi na sila nagtatanong kung magkano ang sweldo. All they're interested in is to get a job. But if we create 12 million jobs, ang daming available job, ngayon, ang mga workers naman ang magpapakipot. Di ba? O kailangan mo ng welder. Ikaw welder, sabihin mo, magkano ang sweldo? O, di ba? Kasi, ang daming available jobs. Ang daming available jobs. Kung there are no takers, walang mangyayari. Sabihin ng welder, kung hindi mo taasan ang sweldo ko, doon na lang ako sa Kuwait. Ang laki ng sweldo doon, $1,200. O, bigyan mo ako ng kahit man lang $500, pwede na. So, magiging demanding na ang ating mga labor workforce.
Sir, last question na lang po from me. Sir, President Duterte has mentioned several times that he will create yung separate department for OFWs. Does your department still back this? I believe there are 6 proposals in Congress to create this department.
Actually, being the Secretary of Labor, I hesitate to comment on that. No, kasi it will be self-serving. But anyway, objectively, under the Department of Labor, we have 2 agencies solely devoted to OFW concern. That is the OWA and the POEA. So, if you create another bureaucracy, it's no longer in line with the trust of government to come up with a leaner government, di ba? Magdadagdag ka na naman, another layer, whereas we already have yung OWA at saka POA. And sa tingin ko naman, if you strengthen yung POA and OWA, they can service our OFWs very effectively. So, hindi ko sasabihin na hindi kailangan. Well, I'm just saying that we already have 2 agencies in government that is servicing our OFWs.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Ace Romero, to be followed by Pia and Ted Tavera.
Secretary, on another issue, meron na bang petsa kung kailan magre-resume yung fifth round ng talks between the NDF and the GPH panels?
Tinanong muna nilang, hindi sasagutin kita. Supposed to be, hindi mo namin sasabihin.
Meron na.
Pero nag-usap kami ni Chairman Agkawili last Sunday evening. And meron kaming initial understanding that we will probably have yung na-outload na fifth round will probably be realized second or third week of August. But before that, para maganda, this time we will have a good result. There will be an informal meeting between the panel. And the meeting may be in Asia or the Philippines. Although yung yung NDF would like to have it somewhere they were mentioning Japan. Ang compromise ko naman, ang layo naman ng Japan, baka pwede ng Hong Kong or the Philippines. Especially so that Joma season will not be attending, it will only be their panel. So walang problema doon. So there will be an informal meeting and they will discuss mainly on the issue of socio-economic reforms and yung possible interim unilateral ceasefire. Mag-uusap na sila para pagdating ng August, maliwanag na, and it will only be for submission to the panel for formal approval by the panels.
Or third week yung formal. Yung informal
Yung informal within the third or last week of July. So you can join them if you want.
resolve na ba, Secretary, yung issues? Kasi di ba yun yung reason bakit na tenga yung talks because of yung continued attacks by the against security forces. Naayos na ba yung issue na yun?
Actually naman the cancellation of the fifth round was not attributed to the attacks, no? Because the reality is that there is an existing armed conflict. That is the reason why we are talking to end the armed conflict. So, habang nag-uusap tayo, you expect some skirmishes once in a while. Ang naging dahilan doon ay yung kanilang statement na you recall, before we left for the Netherlands, may statement ang CPP na we will accelerate and intensify our attacks against government, which is no longer in keeping with the provisions of the Hague Joint Declaration, which says that both parties should provide an atmosphere conducive to the conduct of a peace negotiation. Yun naging dahilan na sabi namin, oy, you are violating the basic framework of our process, and that is the Hague Joint Declaration. Yeah.
So, on a truce. Truce muna while we speak.
It's possible. Yung nga, sinabi ko na that informal meeting, the end of July, will be discussing yung interim unilateral ceasefire, separately signed by both parties.
Last question sa akin. So, overall, ano po yung nakikita nyong prospects ng talks between the NDF and the GPH? As yung mga nakikita nyo sa ngayon, yung prospects.
I don't know, pero I hope you will understand me. I'm the ever optimist. Na I always say that there is always a hope for a peace process. If you borrow the words of Secretary Dureza, in the process there will be humps and bumps, but we will stay in the course of the process because there is no alternative. This is the best legacy that our president can give to our country, an enduring and lasting peace for everyone.
Thank you, Secretary.
Okay. Pia Ranyada, microphone. Pia, nasa harap. Yeah.
Sir, before my question, I just want to clarify what you mentioned earlier. So, sir, the unilateral ceasefire na interim, will it be a requirement before the formal peace talks, or it will be signed during the formal peace talks in August?
It could be before or it could be during. Ang importante ay pag-uusapan na nila para kung kinakailangan na hintayin pa yung formal bago magpirmahan, then we will wait for that. Otherwise, pwede na rin, kasi interim naman interim unilateral ceasefire. At masyado na yata akong nagiging open sa inyo. Yung ano, kasi one of the issues there would be, who will be the referee? Kung halimbawa may violation, saan ka tatakbo? Ano? So, yun ang isang sensitive issue. Who will be the referee? So, merong magandang pinag-usapan si Chairman Fidel and our panel member, Secretary Braganza, which is a very, very, anong tawag doon? Innovative idea of a referee. Could be a joint team, joint monitoring team of the ceasefire.
Sir, will there be a timeline for the ceasefire, a deadline, or how many months will it last? How long?
Sa akin, it will be for as long as we do not have the bilateral ceasefire.
Sir, does the President have the bless yung possibility of talks in August? It comes with his blessing.
Di ba, may statement si Presidente na let's talk.
Sir, going on to my question, because the AFP released a directive identifying the NPA as one of the targets of martial law. This is AFP Operational Directive 02717. Sir, how will this directive affect the peace talks?
Ano yung directive?
AFP Operational Directive 0217. So it's a martial law directive. The third directive is to degrade armed capabilities of the NPA.
Well, that's a normal operation of the armed forces. So the NPAs, the CPP understand that. Just like they once in a while also launch offensive against our forces.
Sir, didn't the NDF release statements, sir, saying that martial law might target their forces and that's why they have to ramp up attacks versus government?
Wala namang ganun na. Wala namang, I don't think the President has any intention of doing that because he made it very clear that he declared martial law in the fight against terrorism. So, martial law was declared to counter yung terrorism.
And yet, sir,
the
we have
terrorist
nga
law.
po a military directive identifying the NPA as one of the targets of martial law. Will this have any impact on the peace talks?
Wala naman.
Okay, thank you, Ted Tovera, to be followed by Philip Tobesa. And last question, Ian Cruz.
Good morning, Secretary. Kahapon po, sir, na-interview po si Secretary Lorenzana. Ang sabi niya, I for one has already been talking to the GRP panel kung pwede wag muna tayong makipag-usap sa CPP-NPA kung hindi nila nakokontrol ang kanilang NPA na gumagawa ng mga extortion. Sir, how do you take yung ganitong advice or suggestion ni Secretary Lorenzana?
Well, whenever the panel goes to the venue for the peace talks or the round of talks, we regularly consult the intelligence community of the armed forces of the Philippines. We talk to Secretary Esperon, our National Security Advisor. And the mere fact that we go to the venue of the talks is an indication that their assessment is that they are still the right person to talk to. Otherwise, pag sinabi nila sa amin na huwag nyo lang kusapin mga yan, hindi naman nila kontrolado yung person nila, we will not go there anymore. But the fact alone that we are still there is an indication that from the assessment of our intelligence community, they are still the right person to talk to.
Sir, sabi nga po sabi ni Secretary Lorenzana, wag daw muna dahil nga dun sa extortion scheme na ginagawa daw nila and at the same time yung warning po ata, I guess, over the weekend na magkakaroon daw sila ng public attacks. How do we respond to that, sir?
Well, I don't know the basis for the statement of Secretary Lorenzana. I respect him for his views, but maybe you took him out of context. Oo. Kasi yung palagi pinag-usapan yung extortion activities, alam naman natin na they are not into extortion. They're into what you call, ano yung paborito? Yun, revolutionary tax collection.
Okay, Philip Tobesa.
Sir, good morning po. Doon lang po sa OAC and then yung idol, yung sa ID natin. Kailan po magsa-start ito? Saan mag-apply yung mga OFWs natin?
July 12, sa Aguinaldo, we will launch it before the President.
Ano pong mga kailangan documents at gaano po katagal yung processing before ma-release yung IDs?
Actually, all we need is yung inventory of all the bona fide OFWs, on the basis of which our POEA, in conjunction with the Department of Labor, will start processing the IDs.
Opo. So, sir, pag nag-apply po yung OFW natin, kailan po niya makukuha?
Hindi na kailangan mag-apply. If you are an OFW, bibigyan ka na. Kasi nandun ka na sa roster ng mga OFW. So, we will start processing yung ID and then we'll give it to you.
Ito po ay for sa ide-deploy pa lang or kayo pwede rin po yung
Lahat ng mga present OFWs. Yung mga na i-deploy pa, that has to be processed kasi you have to determine that they are qualified to be for foreign or overseas employment.
So, sir, yung magbabakasyon po ba, dadaan pa sila sa BM Online or wala na yun?
Wala na. Kasi nandun na yung ID nila. Yun ang kailangan kasi noon, kailangan mo ng OEC eh. Pero ngayon, hindi na.
So, pwede rin po itong gamitin for the travel tax and the terminal fee sa airport?
Yes, hindi na kailangan din. No? Yung terminal fee, hindi na. Masagal na yun eh. Masagal ko na pinababalik yung pera na kinolekta eh.
So, wala na rin pila, sir, sa NAIA? Wala na pong pila sa NAIA, last question.
Wala na dapat. Oh.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Ian Cruz.
Hi, good morning, Secretary.
Morning.
Related dun sa tanong ni Philip, kasi you mentioned kanina na baka wala ng passport ng mga OFWs and kakausapin yung DFA and then ang Bureau of Immigration. Pero sir, I think walang problema yon dito sa bansa natin. Pero pag nandun na sila sa country like sa Middle East or sa Europe or sa America or any parts of the world, baka hingan sila syempre ng passport. Paano yun? Yung bang idol natin, pwede nang maging passport din nila doon? Paano kaya yun?
That is why I said we have to talk to the Department of Foreign Affairs and the Department of Justice through the agency Bureau of Immigration. Kasi we have to see to it na yung passport natin hindi lang valid sa Philippines but also valid to all other countries. Oo. That will be through diplomatic channels na yan.
Pero sir, nabanggit nyo na, yung idol pwede nang parang passport nila?
Hindi pa. That's why we have to meet with the DFA and DOJ para yung idol na yan can later on be converted or can be used as a passport. Eh, siyempre, makikiusapan pa ni Secretary Cayetano yung mga other countries.
So parang talagang mawawala na yung passport nila, sir, na ginagamit nila?
Eventually, kung we will succeed in making arrangement with the other countries na yung ID na yon can already be considered as a passport of our OFWs.
Sir, nabanggit mo rin kanina no, sa mga manggagawa naman, yung marami ka nakita na mga malls na mga hazardous ang work, like sa mga sales lady. Meron bang ginawa ang DOLE para imbestigahan itong mga kumpanya na malalaki ang kinikita, hazardous pa lang ginagawa sa mga sales lady?
We did. We already notified them. And by the way, yung tungkol sa PLDT, I am transferring our regional director of NCR for his failure to give a a notice to PLDT to regularize their employees. I remember that was 2 months ago. Hindi pa niya nagagawa, so I am going to transfer him to another region and put somebody here who can be more effective.
Sir, dun sa mga sales lady, anong sabi ng mga mall? Talagang bibigyan na nila ng break ang mga sales lady na kada ilang oras na ngayon pwedeng umupo sila?
Sa ngayon kasi, sabi ko yung because of the very big, wide difference of our numbers of inspectors and yung business establishment na inimbestiga namin, we are concentrating on more serious violation. But the moment we will have the number, if we can get additional 2 to 2 to 3,000 labor law compliance inspectors, yung mga ganyan, papatulan na namin. Oo. Kasi ngayon, ang pinahabol namin yung mga kagaya ka yesterday, may magtataho. He has 4 branches, ha? He has 4 branches. Sa matuwid, kumikita ng gusto. Alam mo kung magkano sweldo ng kanyang mga trabahante? 270. Which is very, very much lower than the minimum wage in Metro Manila, which is, yan sa inyo, hindi nyo alam, ha? What's the minimum wage in Metro Manila? O, kita nyo? 491.
400.
That's the minimum wage in Metro Manila. And yet, ang sweldo ng mga trabahante nila is only 270.
Apo. Sir, going back dun sa sales lady, no? Paano nyo nasabing hazardous yung 4 hours na nakatayo sila? Ano bang standard talaga na kailangan umupo ang isang tao?
Sabi nung mga, sabi nung occupational, di ba meron kaming office na Occupational Safety and Health Council ba yan?
Yes, sir.
Center. Sabi nila dapat nagre-rest sila ng at least every 2 hours.
Every 2 hours. Okay. Sir, last question na po from me. Ano? Kasama po kayo dun sa cabinet meeting kahapon. Pwede niyo po bang i-share sa amin yung ilan sa mga highlights?
I think Secretary Ernie is in a better position. Mas malapit siya doon kay Presidente.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Dole Secretary Silvestre Bello III, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella.
Thank you, Sec. Bello. I'd like to proceed. We have a few items to share on. The United Nations World Tourism Organization Secretary General Taleb Rifai has expressed his support for the Philippines as he calls out to everyone to experience the Philippines. He also describes the Philippines as a country full of life because of its culture, nature, and optimistic citizens. This assures that the Philippines continues to be a safe and relaxing place for foreign and local tourists, which will further increase the country's investment and business expansion. Also, Moody's retains the Philippines credit rating and stable outlook. The Department of Finance has reported that the Moody's Investor Services maintained the Philippines credit rating of Baa2 and stable outlook, indicating the country's strong economic performance marked by its rapid real GDP growth, improvement in debt manageability, supported by a tighter fiscal policy, and the ability to withstand domestic political risk. According to BSP, the decision of Moody's speaks well regarding the favorable path that the Philippine economy continues to tread. The Duterte administration continues to sustain the robust economic growth of the country and make it more inclusive by attracting more businesses, investing in human capital, and increasing infrastructure spending. On the meeting of PRRD with U.S. Ambassador Sung Kim, the Department of Foreign Affairs with the Office of Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano released the following information on the President's meeting with His Excellency Ambassador Sung Kim of the United States of America. They had a very productive and fruitful meeting this afternoon, yesterday afternoon. The ambassador reiterated the U.S. government's full support for the Philippine government operations in Marawi, as well as in its reconstruction and rehabilitation efforts for the Islamic city. Ambassador Kim also conveyed to the President the U.S. government's approval of the duty-free entry of travel goods from the Philippines to the United States, which will generate 70,000 new domestic jobs and an additional 5 billion pesos in revenues annually. The U.S. ambassador also congratulated the Philippines for the success of its anti-human trafficking program, this is manifest in the retention of the Philippines in its Tier 1 ranking in the list of countries which have complied with international standards on countering human trafficking. On Marawi, I would like first to read a press statement regarding the 500 million jewelries looted by Maute ASG rebels and criminal gangs in Marawi. Fresh from inside Marawi comes disturbing narratives of looting, burglary, and theft. An estimated 500 million worth of cash was reportedly looted and stolen by Maute ASG Group rebels, together with criminals in Marawi City, according to revelations by hostages who successfully escaped and were later on rescued by government forces. 7 hostages who were able to reach government forces a week ago, followed by another escape a few days later, and by another 2 several days ago, made these disturbing revelations, corroborating early information received by Joint Task Force Marawi headquarters. All these hostages revealed that they were forced to convert to Islam or be killed. According to them, they were initially tasked to loot and steal from the houses, establishments for ammunition, firearms, cash, gold, and jewelry. They estimate that the group alone was able to loot and steal at least 500 million in cash, not to include other items they have taken from households and business establishments. They believe that the amount of cash and valuable items looted could be worth more, as there were several other groups being forced by terrorists to loot and steal for them. The rescued and escaped hostages said they were forced to loot and steal under duress and upon instruction and supervision of Maute ASG rebels and local criminals. The rescued individuals also revealed that they followed a daily routine, looting and stealing schedule. Morning from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., returned for lunch, then back to looting and stealing after lunch up to 3 p.m., and then back to their holding place. It's believed there are countless other crimes being committed by the Maute ASG groups and criminal gangs while fighting is going on. More revelations and information were divulged by the rescued hostages, some of it awaiting validation. Regarding numbers, civilians killed by terrorists, the number remains the same, 39. Civilians rescued by government troops and LGUs remain the same, 1,717. Terrorists killed, 337 from 336, or an increase of 1. Recovered high-powered firearms from terrorists, 410 from 402, increase of 8. And government casualties killed in action, 85 from 84, or an increase of 1. Again, we reiterate that the government's policy is not to negotiate with terrorists' remains. The AFP reiterates its call to all our citizens to practice the concept of shared responsibility in security by being vigilant, alert, and conscious in their immediate environs, wherever they are, and to report to the authorities suspicious persons or items left unattended immediately. From DSWD, as of 12 midnight, July 2, 2017, a total of 84,351 families, or 389,366 individuals, have been displaced by the armed conflict in Marawi, of which 3,798 families, or 17,389 persons, are currently staying in 79 evacuation centers, and 70,359 families, or 333,779 persons, are staying either with relatives or friends. As of midnight, 2nd of July 2017, a total of 117,707,504 fund augmentation was provided by DSWD Central Office to field offices. Further, a total of 123,609,924 worth of food and non-food items were provided by DSWD. Regarding the cabinet meeting last night, the 16th cabinet meeting of President Duterte went like clockwork and covered significant items, among which the Marawi City Response and Relief Operations, DSWD, updates on the opening of classes in Marawi 2017-2018 Department of Education, and the proposed fiscal year 2018 National Expenditure Plan from DBM. the Marawi City response and relief operations. As stated earlier, this is a slight variation. People displaced, as per DSW data, there were 84,855 displaced families, or 400,440 displaced individuals. 3,798 families, or 17,389 persons, are staying in evacuation centers, and more than 70,000 are home-based, found in 400 host communities. There are several relevant issues needing attention, among which camp coordination and camp management by DSWD, IDP protection, also under DSWD, health under DOH, logistics under the Office of Civil Defense, emergency telecommunication under OCD, search, rescue, and retrieval AFP, education under Department of Education, law and order PNP, management of the dead and missing under DILG, and the early recovery and livelihood plans. Their guidelines remains to shorten the process by which internally displaced persons can access assistance without jeopardizing safeguards to protection of people's money and resources. Also, LGUs of Marawi and ARMM are key actors in the early recovery and the next stage of rehabilitation. And third, the dignity of IDPs must be upheld. I'd like to go now to the report of the DBM. Very interesting, they said it's a budget that reforms and transforms. It covers medium-term macroeconomic assumptions and fiscal targets, key budget dimensions, expenditure priorities. The 2018 budget amounts to 3.767 trillion, or 12.4% more than the 2017 budget and 21.6% of the GDP. The allocation by expense class, okay, LGUs receive 16%, GOCCs receive 4.5%, infra and capital outlays receive 25.4%, personal services receive 29.4%, maintenance receive 14.5%, debt burden 9.8%. The top departments: Department of Education, SUCs, and CHED. Next, DPWH, third DILG, fourth DOH, fifth DSWD, fifth Department of Agriculture, next ARMM, and then DNR. The priorities framework. Number one, to enhance the social fabric, to make sure that the entire budget is spent in being people-centered, fair, just, and value-based, to reduce inequality, to increase growth potential, to maintain foundations for sustainable development. Secretary Ben Jokno wound up his report by saying, the budget aims for a safer, greener, wealthier, and more beautiful country, making space for the youth, the poor, disadvantaged, and handicapped. End of statement.
Questions, MPC? Okay, thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Thank you, DOLE Secretary Silvestre Bello III. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas and PTV.